How to turn your house into a fortress burglars will skip when civilization is hanging by a thread, neighborhoods have gone dark, and the only thing standing between you and looters is 30 minutes of strategic paranoia. Right now, literally right now, look around your house. Your front door with its shiny brass deadbolt. Your Ring doorbell capturing high-definition footage of absolutely nothing useful. That ADT sign you stuck in your front lawn like it's a magical ward against criminals. You think you're safe. You think you've done your homework. You think that because you live in a good neighborhood with an HOA that fines people for parking RVS on the street, you're somehow immune to the reality that 2.5 million home burglaries happen in the US every year. Welcome to the Great American Delusion, the belief that bad things happen to other people. But here's the kicker, you think this is about criminals, about organized theft rings and career burglars? Wrong. This is about desperation. This is about your neighbor 3 doors down who just lost his job and knows you leave for work at 7:15 every morning like clockwork. This is about the teenager who mows your lawn and has memorized every entry point while you chat with him about the weather. This is about the heroin addict who's been watching your house for 3 days and knows you come home at 6:30, pull into the garage, and that your wife leaves the kitchen window cracked because she's airing out cooking smells. They're not coming to test your security system, they're coming because you've advertised, loudly, clearly, stupidly, that you're an easy target. And in the next 30 minutes, I'm going to show you the 4 catastrophic mistakes you're making right now that are essentially rolling out a red carpet for anyone who wants to walk into your castle and take your stuff while you watch Netflix in the basement. Because when they come, and they will come, your fancy smart home isn't going to save you. Your alarm system isn't going to save you. That Louisville Slugger you keep next to your bed definitely isn't going to save you because you'll never reach it. Let's fix that. Mistake number 1. Advertising your absence like a billboard on the Interstate Hour 72. You're on a beach in Cancun, sipping something with an umbrella in it, posting sunset photos to Instagram with geotags enabled because you need everyone to know you're living your best life. Back home, your porch light is on, same one that's been on every night for the past 3 nights. Your driveway is empty, pristine, not a tire track in the fresh snow that fell yesterday. Your mailbox is overflowing. There are 3 Amazon boxes stacked by your front door like a shrine to consumerism. And your neighbor's teenage son, the one who's been smoking meth for 6 months while his parents pretend he's just going through a phase, is taking notes. This is the mistake that gets repeated in every single neighborhood burglary report I've read, and I've read hundreds. The homeowner essentially sent out engraved invitations. You think you're being clever by putting your lights on a timer. You think that because you asked your neighbor to keep an eye on things, you've covered your bases. What you've actually done is created a pattern so predictable that a goldfish could crack it. The psychology here is pathetically simple, and it's backed by environmental criminology research. Burglars, whether they're professionals or desperate amateurs, look for houses that scream nobody's home because they want zero confrontation. They're not the cat burglars from Ocean's 11, scaling buildings and cracking safes. They're opportunists. A 2013 study from the University of North Carolina surveyed 422 convicted burglars and found that 83% said they'd avoid a house if they thought someone was home. 83%. That means the entire game is about making them think you're there, even when you're not. But here's where it gets worse. Your predictable patterns aren't just about vacation, it's every single day. You leave for work at the same time, your house goes dark at the same time every night, your car leaves the driveway and returns like you're running on railroad tracks. Criminal behavior analyst Chris E. McGoey calls this lifestyle vulnerability, the routines you establish that become reconnaissance data. And every time you follow that routine, you're training observers, you're teaching them your schedule, you're essentially handing them a syllabus. Here's when the house is empty. Here's your window. Good luck on your final exam. The inverse is true too, and this is where it gets scientifically interesting. The routine activity theory, developed by criminologists in the 1970s, states that crime happens when 3 elements converge: a motivated offender, a suitable target, and the absence of a capable guardian. You can't control motivation. There's always going to be some tweaker or desperate person who needs money. But you can make yourself an unsuitable target by creating the illusion of presence. That's guardian disruption. Controlled chaos theory, you need to make your house look occupied through random, unpredictable patterns. First, and this is immediate, do this today level, stagger your lighting. Get smart bulbs, the cheap kind, we're not doing home automation theater here, and set them to random intervals. Kitchen light on at 6:47 p.m, off at 8:23 p.m, bedroom light on at 9:15 p.m. living room light on at 10:32 p.m. No pattern, no predictability. Humans don't move through their houses like robots. We wander, we forget lights on, we turn them off at weird times. Replicate that chaos. Second layer, vehicle rotation. If you're gone for more than 24 hours, have someone park a car in your driveway. Different car if possible. Move it every day. Park it in different spots. This creates the impression of activity. Driveways are visual confirmation of occupancy. Empty driveways are magnets for burglars. The same UNC study found that 60% of burglars said they'd case a house by knocking on the door first. No car in the driveway? They're knocking. No answer? They're checking the back. Third, mail and package management. Get a locking mailbox if you're going to be gone more than 2 days. Redirect packages to Amazon lockers or have them held at the post office. If that's not possible, have a trusted person, and I mean trusted, not that neighbor you wave to sometimes. Collect everything daily. Stacked packages are a neon sign that says, nobody's checking this house. Fourth, and this is where most people fail, social media blackout during absence. You know what's better than posting your vacation photos in real time? Posting them when you get back. That Instagram story about your cruise? It's not just your followers seeing it, it's anyone who can access your profile, including the people who know where you live. In 2016, a group of burglars in New Hampshire were caught after they admitted to using Facebook to identify empty homes. They'd search for people in their area, look for vacation posts, cross-reference addresses from public records, and hit houses within hours. Your sunset photo has embedded metadata. Your geotags are breadcrumbs. Your check-ins at restaurants 1,500 miles from home are tactical intelligence. Pro tip from actual law enforcement: create a vacation protocol checklist. Hold mail and packages, lights on random timers in at least 3 rooms, radio on a talk station in a central room, voices suggest occupancy, blinds and curtains in their normal positions. Close blinds during the day suggest you're hiding something or nobody's there. A car in the driveway, moved daily. Lawn maintenance continuing on schedule. An unmowed lawn screams absence. And here's the dark one. Tell nobody except the person doing your house checks. Not your co-workers, not your extended family, not your book club. The more people who know your house is empty, the more vectors for information leakage. Remember in Home Alone when Kevin's entire family broadcast their vacation plans to the airport shuttle driver, the neighbors, and basically everyone except the police. And then the wet bandits target their house because Harry posed as a cop and confirmed nobody would be home. That movie's a comedy, but it's based on real criminal methodology. Career burglars do reconnaissance, they note patterns, they confirm absence, and they strike during the window of opportunity. Kevin survived through cartoon violence and elaborate traps that would hospitalize a real human. You don't get paint cans and BB guns, you get violated. Learn from the McAllister's mistake. Operational security matters. The uncomfortable truth: your neighbors are watching. They know when you're gone. And if they're struggling, if they're desperate, if they've convinced themselves they'll just borrow something and pay you back later, your empty house is temptation manifest. Your absence is opportunity, and your predictable patterns are the blueprint. Make them guess, make them uncertain, make them move to an easier target. Mistake number 2, turning your home's exterior into a burglar's playground. Day 7 after the break-in. You're standing in your backyard, talking to the police detective, and he points at your 6-foot privacy fence. "Great cover," he says. Then he points at your overgrown shrubs hugging the foundation. "Can't see the windows from the street." Then he gestures at your lack of exterior lighting. "Worked under complete darkness." Then he looks at you with that exhausted expression cops get when they've explained this exact thing 200 times. You basically built them a workspace. This is the mistake that combines physical security ignorance with aesthetic vanity, and it gets exploited in roughly 40% of home burglaries. You think your landscaping looks nice. You think your privacy fence protects your backyard barbecues from nosy neighbors. You think that big oak tree providing shade in summer is a selling point. What you've actually created is concealment. Multiple angles where someone can work on your doors and windows completely invisible from the street, from neighbors' sightlines, and from any passing patrol car. The principle here is environmental design, specifically crime prevention through environmental design, or CPTED, pronounced CPTED because criminologists love acronyms. It's based on decades of research showing that physical environment influences criminal behavior. The core concept: criminals prefer to operate in areas where they can't be seen. That sounds obvious, but you'd be shocked how many people landscape their homes to maximize criminal concealment while thinking they're just making things pretty. Let's talk physics first. Line of sight, direct visual access. If you can't see your ground floor windows from the street, neither can anyone else. That means if someone's jimmying your window at 3 a.m., nobody's noticing. Your privacy fence, the one you installed because you don't want neighbors watching you grill, creates a blind spot. That space between your fence and your house is essentially a workspace with walls. One study from Rutgers University analyzing 1,000 plus burglaries found that houses with high fences or dense landscaping had 3 times the burglary rate of houses with clear sightlines. 3 times. Your aesthetic choices are trebling your vulnerability. Shrubs are worse, especially foundation plantings that grow above window height. That's concealment plus tool leverage. A burglar can crouch behind your azaleas, work on your window for 5, 10, 15 minutes, however long it takes, and nobody can see him. He's got the shrub blocking street view and he's in the shadow of your house. From a tactical standpoint, it's perfect cover. From your standpoint, it's a catastrophic design flaw you probably paid a landscaper to install. The psychology here gets darker. Burglars actively scout for environmental advantages. That same UNC study I mentioned earlier found that 50% of burglars said they'd continue surveilling a target house until they found the right opportunity. They're not just walking up randomly, they're planning. They're identifying, where can I work unseen? Where can I approach without triggering motion lights? Where can I exit quickly if things go wrong? Your landscaping answers all those questions. Trees near second-story windows are ladders. Deck furniture left outside is a boost. That decorative trellis on your wall is climbing infrastructure. You've essentially built a jungle gym for criminals while thinking you're improving curb appeal. The fix: radical transparency in defensive landscaping. This isn't about making your house ugly, it's about making it defensible. First principle, establish clear sightlines from the street to all ground floor access points. That means trimming bushes below window height, maximum 3 feet. I know your landscaper sold you on those 8-foot hedges for privacy, but you're confusing privacy with vulnerability. The goal is that anyone walking past your house at any time can see your doors and windows. This creates accountability. Criminals don't want to work where they can be observed. Second, lighting zones with motion activation. Not that weak solar crap from Home Depot that barely glows. I'm talking 700 lumen LED floods with motion sensors that cover every approach angle to your house. Mount them high enough that they can't be easily disabled, 10 feet minimum. Create overlapping coverage so there's no dark approach. The specification matters. You want lights that trigger at 30 to 40 feet, not right at your door. That gives you, or a neighbor, or a passing car, time to notice someone approaching before they're at your entry point. Use warm white LEDs, not blue-white, because you want to illuminate effectively without creating harsh shadows that could still provide concealment. Third layer, and this is where most people fail. Reposition fences to create a defensible perimeter, not a privacy screen right against your house. If you need a privacy fence, and I get it, you don't want neighbors watching your every move, put it at the property line, not 5 feet from your back door. That creates a buffer zone, a space between the fence and your house that's visible from your windows. Anyone who climbs that fence is then exposed as they cross your yard. You've turned your backyard into a kill zone where movement is obvious. This is basic military defensive positioning applied to residential security. Fourth, strategic placement of gravel or pebble stone along paths and under windows. This is ancient Japanese monastery security, nightingale floors, adapted for modern use. Walking quietly on gravel is nearly impossible. That crunching sound, that's acoustic deterrence. Someone trying to sneak to your window in silence can't. They announce their presence with every step. It won't stop a determined burglar, but it adds a layer of detection that complements your other measures. Fifth, and this is critical, remove anything that can be used as a tool or boost. Ladders in your shed, lock them or chain them. Deck furniture, either anchor it or store it when not in use. Those decorative rocks in your landscaping, they're window-breaking ammunition. That garden hose, it can be used to lasso and pull down mounted cameras. I'm not saying live in a barren wasteland, but understand that everything in your exterior space is potential tactical equipment for someone who wants in. Pro tip from residential security consultants: plant defensive landscaping, roses with thorns along fence lines, bougainvillea under windows, beautiful flowers, vicious thorns, pyracantha, barberry, holly. These aren't just aesthetic choices, they're physical barriers that hurt to push through. Medieval castles had moats and murder holes. You have thorny plants that make window access painful and time-consuming. A burglar who has to push through 3 feet of rose bushes to reach your window is going to reconsider. Pain is a deterrent. Make approach routes uncomfortable. Remember the purge? how those movies show houses with obvious defensive positions, reinforced doors, clear sight lines, prepared kill zones. That's theatrical, but the principle is sound. In a crisis scenario, your home's exterior design becomes tactically significant, but you don't need a once-a-year murder festival to justify defensive design. You need it tonight because the census data shows home burglaries peak between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. when people are at work, and criminals prefer houses where they can work unseen. Your overgrown landscaping is their workshop. Your privacy fence is their security blanket. Your dark corners are their sanctuary. The uncomfortable math: a burglar needs 3 things to operate: concealment, time, and access. Your current exterior design provides all 3. You've optimized for his success. And statistically, the average burglary takes 8 to 12 minutes from entry to exit. That means in the time it takes you to microwave leftovers, someone can be in your house, ransacking your bedroom, stealing your electronics, and gone. All because your azaleas looked nice and you thought that fence was protecting you. Strip away their cover, make them work in the light, make them visible from every angle. Mistake number 3, trusting your locks like they're forged by dwarven blacksmiths. Hour 1, midnight. Someone standing at your front door with a bump key, a $5 piece of metal you can order on Amazon or fabricate from a blank in about 10 minutes with a file. They insert it into your shiny quick-set deadbolt, the one you installed yourself from Home Depot feeling like a responsible homeowner. They tap it gently with a screwdriver handle, once, twice, 3 times. Click. Your deadbolt turns. Total time elapsed, 12 seconds. They're inside. Your dog didn't even wake up. Your alarm system hasn't triggered because they haven't opened the door yet, they've just unlocked it. And you're upstairs dreaming about that promotion at work, completely unaware that your security just failed catastrophically. This is the lock mythology that pervades American home security, and it's based on a fundamental misunderstanding of how locks actually work. You think that deadbolt is protecting you. You think that because you spent $40 instead of $15, you've upgraded your security meaningfully. You think that because it's got a brass finish and the package said pick resistant, you're safe from intrusion. What you've actually got is security theater, a psychological comfort blanket that provides the illusion of protection while offering roughly the same resistance as a teenager's diary lock. The physics of pin tumbler locks, which is what 90% of residential deadbolts use, is almost insultingly simple. Inside that cylinder are spring-loaded pins of varying heights. When you insert the correct key, those pins align at the shear line, allowing the cylinder to rotate and the bolt to retract. That's it. That's the mechanism protecting your family and everything you own. And it's vulnerable to at least 6 different bypass methods that require minimal skill and tools you can buy at any hardware store. Bump keys exploit the physics of momentum transfer. When you strike a specially cut key inserted into a lock, the force transfers through the key pins to the driver pins, causing them to jump above the shear line for a fraction of a second, long enough for the cylinder to rotate if you apply turning pressure simultaneously. It's the same principle as Newton's cradle, that desktop toy where you pull back one ball and the one on the opposite end jumps. Except in this case, your security is the thing getting displaced. Lock Sport International, yes, that's a real organization of lock-picking enthusiasts, has documented bump key success rates above 90% on standard residential locks. 90%. Your deadbolt is basically a suggestion. Raking is faster. It's a picking technique where you insert a rake tool, looks like a key with random bumps, and rapidly scrub it in and out while applying rotational tension. On a cheap residential lock, an experienced picker can rake it open in under 30 seconds. I've seen it done in 8. You don't need to be a master locksmith. You need about 4 hours of YouTube videos and a $20 pick set. The skill ceiling is shockingly low. Then there's the bypass nobody talks about, your door frame. Your deadbolt extends 1 inch into the door frame. 1 inch. That's all that's stopping someone from kicking your door in. Except the frame is usually pine with 3/4 inch screws holding the strike plate. When someone kicks a door, and I mean a proper kick, not a movie kick, I'm talking 500+ pounds of force focused on that strike plate. Those screws rip out of the wood like they were held in by good intentions. The deadbolt is irrelevant. The frame fails first. FBI statistics show that 56% of burglars enter through forced entry, not picking, not bumping, just straight up kicking or prying. Because why finesse a lock when you can apply physics? The psychology here is where it gets insidious. Locks make us feel secure. That's their primary function in modern America, not actual security, but the psychological sensation of security. It's why we lock our doors even when we know it's trivially easy to defeat them. It's security theater, a term coined by Bruce Schneier to describe measures that make people feel safer without actually improving security. Your deadbolt is a stage prop. It deters opportunistic teenagers and creates legal boundaries, trespassing versus breaking and entering, but it doesn't stop anyone with intent and 15 seconds. Multi-layered lock hardening, starting with the cylinder and working outward to the frame. First, and this is non-negotiable, replace every exterior door lock with a high security cylinder. I'm talking ANSI grade 1 at minimum, with pick-resistant pins and drill-resistant components. Brands like Medeco, Multi-Lock, or Abloy. Yes, they're expensive. A Medeco deadbolt runs $200 to $300. That's the cost of 2 decent dinners out. Your current lock costs $40 and protects everything you own. Do the math. High security locks use specialized pin designs, mushroom pins, spool pins, serrated pins, that actively fight picking and bumping attempts. They're not unpickable, nothing is, but they raise the skill requirement and time investment to the point where most criminals move on. Second layer, reinforce your door frame with a strike plate upgrade that actually matters. Throw away that stamped metal plate with 3 baby screws. Install a strike box, a metal housing that encases the deadbolt receiver and distributes force across a larger area. Secure it with 3-inch screws that penetrate through the door frame into the wall stud, not the trim, the actual structural stud. This distributes kick force across the frame instead of concentrating it at the weak point. Door Security Pro makes kits that can withstand over 4,000 pounds of force. Your current setup fails at around 400. That's a 10 times improvement. Third, install a door reinforcement plate on the door itself. This is a metal plate that covers the area around the lock cylinder and spreads impact force across the entire door width. Combined with the strike box, you've created a system where the weak point is no longer the lock or frame, it's the door itself. And if someone's breaking down the door, which requires significantly more force and time, you've got other problems that we'll address later. Fourth layer, and this is critical for sliding glass doors because they're pathetically vulnerable. Install drop bolts or floor locks. A sliding glass door sits on a track. Even when locked, it can often be lifted off the track from outside. A drop bolt, a rod that literally drops into a hole in the floor or lower track, prevents lifting. It's a $30 part that eliminates an entire class of bypass attacks. Similarly, windows need pin locks or key locks at minimum. Those flip latches on standard windows? A thin piece of metal slid between the sashes can flip them open from outside. Takes 3 seconds. Fifth, consider grade 1 electronic locks with activity logging. Not smart locks that connect to your Wi-Fi and get hacked by every script kiddie with a laptop. I'm talking commercial grade electronic locks like you'd find on hotel rooms. They log every unlock attempt, every failed code, every time the door opens. If someone's attempting to bump or pick your lock, you have a record. If someone gains entry, you know when. This isn't about convenience, it's about intelligence. You want data on access patterns. Pro tip from locksmiths who actually care about security: install a deadbolt that requires a key from both sides. It's called a double cylinder deadbolt. Yes, it's annoying if there's a fire. Yes, you need to keep a key near the door, in a break glass box, not hanging on a nail. But it eliminates the common attack where someone breaks a window, reaches through and turns your deadbolt from inside. With a double cylinder, they're back to dealing with the lock. And if you've upgraded to high security cylinders, they're facing serious resistance. The fire risk is real, check local codes, but in most cases, it's mitigated by proper key placement and safety planning. Remember in Panic Room when Jodie Foster's character has that fortress bedroom with steel door, independent phone line, and cameras? The whole premise is that the home's regular security failed, but her backup layer held. That's layered defense. Your front door isn't Fort Knox, accept that. But make it hard enough that they either trigger alarms, take enough time that someone notices, or just move to your neighbor's house with the $40 quick set and no frame reinforcement. Security isn't about being impenetrable, it's about being a harder target than the alternatives. The dark reality from police reports: most burglars spend less than 60 seconds trying to gain entry. If they can't get in quickly, they leave. That means your upgraded lock doesn't need to be unpickable. It needs to be annoying enough that in 60 seconds, they've made no progress and decided to try somewhere else. You're not defeating a professional safecracker. You're defeating Jimmy from down the street who watched 2 YouTube videos and thinks he can bump a lock, make his techniques fail, make him visible, make him waste time under your motion lights while neighbors potentially watch. Your current locks failed the moment they were installed. They're just waiting for someone to test them, and when someone does, when they bump, rake, kick, or pry, those locks will surrender immediately, and you'll be standing there like every other victim saying, "But I locked my doors." Yeah, you locked them with toys. Upgrade to locks that actually resist, reinforce frames that actually hold, create layers that actually protect. Mistake number 4. Broadcasting your valuables like QVC but for criminals. Week 3 after the robbery, you're talking to your insurance adjuster, listing what was stolen, the 75-inch OLED TV visible through your front window, the gaming PC with RGB lighting you could see from the street, the jewelry box on your bedroom dresser, contents valued at $15,000, visible through curtains you never close because you like natural light. The adjuster isn't even surprised. He's heard this exact story 47 times this month. He asks one question: did you ever consider that advertising what you own is why they chose your house? This is the mistake rooted in ego, convenience, and a complete failure to think like a predator. You worked hard for your stuff. You want to enjoy it. You want people to see that you've made it. That new TV, that pristine gaming setup, that collection of whatever the hell on your shelves. What you've actually done is create a shopping catalog for criminals. You've turned your home into a display case, and you've done it with the curtains open, the lights on, and all the subtlety of a jewelry store window on 5th Avenue. The reconnaissance phase of property crime is heavily visual. Burglars aren't conducting deep surveillance with telephoto lenses and aerial drones, usually. They're walking or driving past, looking through windows, noting what's visible and accessible. A 2015 study by the University of North Carolina Department of Criminal Justice found that 89% of convicted burglars said they'd scout a target before attempting entry. What are they scouting for? Value indicators, electronics, jewelry, cash, weapons, anything that's portable, valuable, and easy to fence. Your TV is visible from the street. That alone tells them this house has money, modern electronics. Someone who can afford a $2,000 TV probably has other valuable items. It's a targeting heuristic. Criminals use visible wealth as a proxy for total wealth. They're not wrong. If you've got top-tier electronics visible through your window, you probably have a nice laptop somewhere. Probably have cash, probably have other items worth taking. The physics of sightlines is stupidly simple, but constantly ignored. During evening hours, when your lights are on and it's dark outside, your home becomes a one-way mirror in reverse. You can't see out into the darkness effectively, but anyone outside has a perfect view into your lit interior. That's the physics of luminance contrast. Your retina adjusts to the bright interior, making the darker exterior harder to perceive. Meanwhile, observers outside in the dark have their retinas adjusted to low light, and your bright windows are like looking at a stage. You're the performance, they're the audience, and they're taking notes. Jewelry on dressers, visible through bedroom windows. This is so common, it's almost a cliche in police reports. Burglars target primary bedrooms because that's where people keep valuable portable items. Jewelry boxes, cash, watches, medications, which have street value. Firearms, which have massive street value. And most people don't close their bedroom curtains during the day because why would they? Nobody can see him from ground level, right? Except the guy who walked around your house during his surveillance and noted that your second floor bedroom window is perfectly visible from the tree line behind your property, or from the neighbor's second floor, or from the street if the angle is right. The psychology behind visible wealth is tribal status signaling gone wrong. Humans are wired to display success to their peer group. It's evolutionary. Demonstrating resources attracts mates and establishes hierarchy. We've just transported that impulse into modernity, where the tribe isn't 150 people who know you, it's everyone who passes your house, including criminals actively looking for targets. You're signaling wealth to your neighbors to feel successful, and simultaneously signaling it to predators who see you as prey. The fix: operational security through visual denial and strategic concealment. This isn't about living like a paranoid hermit in darkness. It's about understanding sightlines and controlling what information you broadcast. First principle: window treatments that you actually use. Every room visible from the street or neighboring properties needs quality blinds or curtains that close completely and that you close when your lights are on or when you're not home. I don't care if you like natural light. I don't care if you feel closed in. You're choosing between feeling cozy and being a target. Sheer curtains don't count. They block detail but not the obvious presence of a massive TV or computer setup. Second, interior layout planning that assumes observation. Position high-value electronics, TVs, computers, gaming systems on interior walls not visible from windows. Rearrange your furniture. It's inconvenient. Do it anyway. Your TV doesn't need to be visible from the street. Your gaming PC with its $300 RGB setup doesn't need to broadcast like a disco ball. Put them on walls that face the interior of your house. Yes, this might mean your living room layout isn't optimal for your feng shui or whatever. It also means that casual observers can't inventory your electronics from the sidewalk. Third layer, strategic use of interior positioning for valuables. Jewelry doesn't belong on your dresser, it belongs in a safe. A real safe, not a $50 lockbox from Walmart. I'm talking floor-bolted, 500+ pounds, fire-rated safe. And that safe doesn't go in your primary bedroom, first place they look. It goes in a basement utility room or a closet in a secondary bedroom or somewhere that requires knowledge of your home's layout to locate. The goal is that even if someone gets in, they're not finding your valuables in the obvious 90 seconds they spend in your primary bedroom. Fourth, external appearance management. This is about the messages your home's exterior sends. That brand new Lexus in the driveway? Wealth indicator. Consider parking it in the garage. Those expensive landscaping lights? Wealth indicator. The custom-built deck with high-end furniture? Wealth indicator. I'm not saying live in poverty. I'm saying understand that every external sign of wealth is advertising. You want to project comfortable middle class from the exterior, not I have things worth stealing. It's the same principle as gray man theory in personal security. Blend in, don't stand out as a high-value target. Fifth, and this is critical for the digital age, social media operational security regarding valuables. Stop posting photos of your new TV. Stop showing off your jewelry. Stop tagging yourself at home with location services enabled while showing your interior layout in the background. Every Instagram story is potential reconnaissance. Every Facebook post about your new laptop is a shopping notification for criminals. I know a guy who posted about his new Rolex collection on Instagram, geotagged photos from his home. 3 weeks later, his house was broken into and the collection was gone. $40,000 worth of watches stolen in 6 minutes. The police found his Instagram in the burglar's phone search history. They'd literally used his post as a shopping list. Pro tip from property crime investigators: create visual ambiguity and misdirection. Put a $20 TV from Goodwill in a visible location, something that looks like it's from 2008. Put your actual good TV somewhere interior. Put a visible but fake camera in an obvious location. Put your real camera in a concealed location. The decoy absorbs their attention. They think they know what you have. They're wrong. This is the same principle as the fake decoy nest that some birds use. Draw attention to the worthless target while protecting the real one. Remember in the town when they're planning the bank robbery and they do surveillance, noting camera positions, guard patterns, and vault locations? That's professional reconnaissance. Now scale it down to residential burglary. They're not planning Ocean's 11 heists, but they're watching. They're noting what you have when you're home, what's easy to grab, and you're helping them by leaving the curtains open and the lights on like you're running a museum exhibit of your personal wealth. The brutal numbers: the average burglary loss in the US is $2,661 according to FBI data, but that's the average. High-value targets, houses that advertise expensive electronics and jewelry, average losses above $8,000. You're not just losing stuff, you're losing the most expensive stuff because you told them what to take. Your open windows and visible valuables created a target priority list. They didn't ransack randomly, they came for specific items they'd already seen. Your home isn't a showroom, it's not a status symbol for passers-by to admire. It's a target if you make it look like one. And right now, with those curtains open and that TV glowing like a beacon, you've essentially put a sign on your lawn that says, expensive electronics inside, help yourself, close the windows, control the sightlines, make them guess what you have instead of giving them a catalog. So here we are, 4 mistakes, 30 minutes of fixes, the difference between your house being a fortress or a crime scene. You've got a choice now, and it's stupidly binary. Option 1, you take this seriously. You spend the next 30 minutes walking through your house with this script as a checklist. You identify your patterns and break them. You survey your landscaping and see the cover you've provided to criminals. You test your locks and realize they're jokes. You look at your windows and see the catalog you've created, and then you fix it. All of it. Today. Option 2, you do what most people do. You think, that won't happen to me. You tell yourself you live in a good neighborhood. You convince yourself that burglaries happen to other people, careless people, unlucky people. You close this video and forget about it within an hour. And then, in 6 months or 6 years or next Tuesday at 2 a.m., you wake up to footsteps in your hallway. And you'll remember this moment, when you had the information, when you could have acted, when you chose comfort over security. The threat isn't theoretical, it's not some future dystopia, it's happening right now, statistically every 25.7 seconds in America. That's a burglary. While you're watching this video, someone's house is being violated. Could be yours, might be your neighbor's, which means they're scouting your street, learning the patterns, identifying the easiest targets. And your neighbors? They're watching too, not just for suspicious activity, they're watching your routine. They're noting when you're gone. They know what you have because you've shown them. And if things get desperate, job loss, medical bills, addiction, whatever, they know which house to hit. The economic data is grim. Every recession sees a spike in property crime. Every job loss wave creates desperate people. You think your street is immune? Check your local crime stats. Search your zip code on crimereports.com. See what's already happening around you while you're assuming everything's fine. The 30-minute fortress plan isn't about turning your home into a paranoid bunker. It's about removing the obvious vulnerabilities that make you an easy target. Because criminals, whether they're professionals or amateurs, whether they're strangers or neighbors, are looking for easy. They want in and out fast, with minimal resistance, maximum reward, zero confrontation. Make yourself hard. Make them work. Make them visible. Make them waste time under lights while your unpredictable schedule suggests someone might be home. Make them work through reinforced locks that don't surrender to a bump key. Make them approach through defensible sightlines where they're exposed. Make them guess what you have instead of giving them a window shopping experience. Your castle isn't impenetrable, nothing is, but it can be harder than the castle next door. That's the game. That's all it's ever been. The choice is yours. The fixes are in front of you. The clock is running. Stay dangerous, stay defended, and for the love of whatever you believe in, close your damn curtains.